Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. B&B spoilers. Brooke Logan schemes to get rid of Taylor. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for this week show Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, busting her man with his ex-wife in a compromising position. Brooke seemed blissfully ignorant of Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kaye, and Taylor Hayes' Rebecca Budig connection. She can't ignore what's getting straddled right in her face. Here's what's happening next on Bold and Beautiful spoilers down below. Ridge Forrester is bound and determined to help his ex-wife Taylor overcome her broken heart syndrome. Apparently, it's far more complex than Bold, and the beautiful viewers realized and Ridge and Taylor need to align their chakras. Brooke has no idea that Taylor is sick and demands an explanation this week on the CBS soap when she walks in on them straddling each other and gazing into each other's eyes. According to B&B spoilers, Brooke is shocked and devastated that Ridge is getting so close to his ex-wife. Brooke really thought she finally had won the decades-long battle and Ridge had finally chose her. Clearly Brooke was only his choice because Taylor was gone. Now that she's back in town, does Brooke stand a chance? The obvious solution to Brooke Logan's problem is Taylor needs to leave town. This week more people will learn that Taylor is sick. Maybe one of those people is Brooke Logan. Brooke could get on the Save Taylor bandwagon and convince Ridge that being around his ex-wife every day is actually making her condition worse and could kill her. Brooke could also help Ridge find a specialist that works miracles with broken heart syndrome. And it could just so happen that the specialist is located in another country halfway around the world. That could backfire though, and Ridge could insist on going with Taylor. Some Bold and the Beautiful viewers are convinced that Taylor is faking her illness. If that's the case, Brooke Logan could find a way to prove it and Ridge would never forgive her. Do you think Brooke will take things too far in her quest to keep Ridge Forrester? The Forrester Creations boardroom buzzed with activity as Brooke Logan adjusted her position at the head of the table, her golden locks shimmering under the soft glow of the room's chandelier. But despite her poised exterior, Brooke's mind was racing. Across town, Taylor Hayes was gaining ground, both professionally and personally. And if there was one thing Brooke Logan wasn't about to do, it was surrender. Taylor had returned to Los Angeles with renewed confidence and an agenda of her own. Her presence in Ridge's life had reignited a long-standing rivalry between the two women, one that Brooke had hoped was finally over. But Taylor was persistent, armed with her serene demeanor and a growing number of allies in Ridge's circle. Brooke knew she needed to act fast or risk losing everything she'd fought for. The perfect opportunity. It started innocently enough, or at least that's how Brooke framed it in her mind. She had overheard Thomas and Steffi discussing Taylor's plans to open a new mental health wing at the Forrester Foundation. Taylor's project was ambitious, and while it would undoubtedly help many people, it also came with risks. Funding, public perception, and internal politics were precarious, and Brooke saw the cracks forming even before Taylor did. Interesting, Brooke murmured to herself as she sipped her coffee in the Forrester kitchen. Talking to yourself again. Ridge's deep voice startled her. Just thinking, she said sweetly, masking her intentions. You know, about all the changes happening around here. Ridge's brow furrowed. Changes can be good, Brooke. Taylor's project is. Bold, Brooke interrupted with a saccharine smile. But also risky. It's a lot for one person to handle, don't you think? Ridge sighed, sensing where the conversation was heading. Brooke, don't start. Oh, I'm not starting anything, Brooke said innocently, placing her cup down. I just care about the family and the business, you know that. Ridge nodded, but the seed had been planted. Recruiting allies, Brooke knew she couldn't do this alone. She needed allies, and her first stop was Eric Forrester. Eric had always had a soft spot for Brooke, and she played into that expertly. Eric, she said, joining him in the design studio. "I've been thinking about Taylor's project." Eric looked up from his sketches. "What about it?" "Well, it's admirable," Brooke began, "but I worry about the strain it could put on the foundation. If something goes wrong, it could affect the entire Forrester brand." Eric frowned. "I hadn't thought about it that way." "Exactly," Brooke said, her tone conspiratorial. "We need to ensure that Taylor's project doesn't jeopardize everything you've built." Eric nodded slowly, and Brooke felt a surge of triumph. One down, a few more to go. Sabotage in motion. The next step in Brooke's plan was to subtly undermine Taylor's efforts. Using her connections, Brooke arranged for a well-placed article in a prominent business magazine. The piece praised Forrester creations but hinted at potential risks associated with the new mental health initiative. Taylor was furious when she read the article. "Who would do this?" she demanded during a meeting with Ridge, Steffi, and Thomas. Brooke sat silently, feigning surprise. "It's unfortunate," she said finally, her voice laced with concern. "But maybe this is a sign that we should re-evaluate the timing of the project." Taylor shot her a sharp look. "Reevaluate or abandon it altogether?" "Now, Taylor, no one is suggesting that," Brooke said, her tone sweet but firm. "We all want what's best for the family and the company." The personal touch. Brooke wasn't content with just professional sabotage. She knew that Taylor's biggest strength and weakness was her connection to Ridge. If Brooke could sound out in Ridge's mind about Taylor's true intentions, she'd have the upper hand. One evening, as Ridge returned home from a long day, Brooke greeted him with a glass of his favorite scotch. "You've been quiet lately," she said softly, sitting beside him on the couch. "Just a lot on my mind," Ridge admitted. "Taylor?" Brooke guessed, her voice tinged with sympathy. "I know how much you want to support her, but don't you think she might be taking on too much?" Ridge sighed, swirling his drink. "She's passionate about what she does." "And that's wonderful," Brooke said, placing a hand on his arm. "But sometimes passion blinds us to reality. I just don't want you to get caught in the fallout if things go wrong." Ridge looked at her, conflicted. Brooke knew she was getting through to him. The final blow. As the days went on, tensions between Brooke and Taylor escalated. Taylor began to suspect Brooke's involvement in the negative press and the growing doubts among the Forrester family. "Admit it, Brooke," Taylor confronted her during a heated exchange at the office. "You're trying to sabotage me." "Sabotage?" Brooke feigned innocence. "Taylor, I'm only looking out for the family. If you see that as sabotage, maybe you should ask yourself why." Taylor's eyes blazed with anger, but Brooke remained calm. She knew that appearing rational and composed would only make Taylor seem more unstable. Later that evening, Brooke sat alone in her bedroom, a glass of wine in hand. She felt a twinge of guilt but quickly dismissed it. In her mind, everything she'd done was justified. Ridge was her destiny, and she wasn't about to let Taylor ruin that. The aftermath. Taylor's project eventually hit a major roadblock, one that forced her to scale back her plans significantly. While she never found concrete proof of Brooke's involvement, the damage was done. Ridge, torn between the two women, grew distant from Taylor, further driving a wedge between them. Meanwhile, Brooke basked in her small victories, knowing she had once again secured her place at the center of Ridge's world. But in the shadows, Taylor quietly vowed to rebuild and to fight back. Because in the world of the bold and the beautiful, rivalries never truly end.